In the city heat, there's a place to be, under the shade of the summer tree. Herbs and roots, a magical feast, healing hands, finding our peace. It's time to rise, take control back, with nature's gifts set our own track. Samba tree, feel alive, healing breezes, let them thrive. It's time for us, reclaim our use with nature's mix. Find the truth, the scent of sage drifts through the air, whispers to me, handle with care, herbal remedy.
Good evening, everybody. Well, we are at the end of 2024. We're getting ready to start here in a little bit. Thank you for joining us. We'll be starting here momentarily. Make sure if you haven't checked already, make sure you go ahead and check out our website, sambatree.com. Sambatree.com. Everything from herbs, natural remedies, body products, dental care, natural, all natural dental care. In every seed lies relief. Samba tree, feel alive, healing breezes, let them fly. We even have our own natural laundry detergent. It's called Miss Sylvia's. Nature's mix, find the truth. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so glad that you're here. Hold on, let me just make sure my audio is good and decent and all of that. Okay, I think it's good here. If you've been noticing, this is the second time I'm trying. Well, I've tried this several times doing this without my headphones. I'm graduating off the headphones. I'm just making sure my audio is good and all that. And then I'm going to go ahead and set these headphones down. But I think it's good. Well, it's good to see everybody here. We are the last day of 2024. And that's it. This is all a wrap. That's it. And tomorrow, if we are all fortunate enough, we'll be waking up to a brand new year, the year of 2025. So whatever goals you may have had that you didn't reach or you didn't make, in 2024, that's all right. You've been fortunate enough to pass on to 2025 and you have another chance, another opportunity to get things together, get your stuff in order and to cut away the things you need to cut away and to add the things you need to add. Whatever adjustments you need to make, you're able to do it. Hopefully you will. For those of us who will cross over into 2025. So make sure you take these moments very, very seriously and, don't get into all the weeds like a lot of people are doing as far as, when it comes to, these holidays, like when it comes to New Year's. Well, New Year's, you got to go back, is actually tied to this ancient whatever cultural tradition that's demonic and all that stuff. Okay. Meanwhile, the rest of the world, time is moving on. They are marking this day as the end of one year and moving on to a brand new year. So like it or not, we are all in this same matrix together. And if you want to know that, if you want to go with the historical part of it, that's fine. That's you. But make no mistake about it. This is a changing of seasons. And so that part, you want to make sure you're taking extremely serious. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, so glad that you guys can join us, and I really appreciate you being here. In this broadcast, what we're going to do, this one is not going to be long at all, but we're going to do something that I'm be honest with you, I haven't seen any other platform do this. And it's a very simple thing, but it's going back and measuring the effectiveness of an event that took place back in 2023. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go back and we're going to measure the effectiveness of it. because there have been many people. And what is that event I'm talking about? I'm talking about Montgomery, Alabama, on the docks. You remember that? The big fight that took place, the brawl, where you had these drunken white boaters that got off the boat and, was saying some very derogatory things towards some black people that were on there, that were on the docks. And then, what happened, the rest, and then it was the infamous chair, that showed up, and he was just swinging and hitting people and all this other stuff. So all that happened, right? We all know about it. We're very familiar with it. And on the internet, wow, this thing caught fire, man. This thing caught fire. A lot of people saw this as a flashpoint in history where it seemed like black people were finally coming together. And I remember doing a video or two on this, and I had many people who were saying this to me. In fact, today, if you didn't get a chance to, I actually did a post on this whole topic here, and I'm actually going to go through that post, and let's go ahead and take a look at it. And let me get a moment here, and let me get this up on here on the screen so you can see and we can follow along with it, okay? But for those of you who are just joining us, Pamela's in the house. Glad to see you there. We're going to go back and we're going to take a look at this. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and bring this up on the screen and let's go ahead and talk business. All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at it. Back in 2023, black people all over the internet were full of glee over a brawl that took place in Montgomery, Alabama. The fight was between whites and black people at a local dock. Clips and snippets were uploaded and re-uploaded again and again along with endless memes. For some, it was just more twisted comic relief, but for others, it was supposedly a show of unity amongst black Americans that proved that we could come together. Some even went as far as to spiritualize the entire thing by twisting Bible verses seasoned with their own prophetic insights. Some also compared it to a Nat Turner moment. And I'm not kidding you I'm not kidding you on that. This was when I did the video, and I remember some of the comments I was getting. People were, comparing this to all kind of things. There were even people online that were bringing up scriptures. They were saying it was a prophetic moment, that, they were finding all kinds of stories in the Bible. They were pulling in history. They were saying that, did you know that at this point in history, there was another revolt that took place between, it was a slave revolt that took place in that same spot. They were bringing everything imaginable to try to make this thing more than what it was. Black folks were. We black people, okay, we're doing this, all right? And it became more than just, see, it's easy now for people to sit back and to try to make it like, oh, that was just, no. Black folks were making this into, it was a momentous situation, all right? And so, yeah, people were pulling in the Bible. They were pulling in history. They were pulling in Nat Turner. They were doing all this stuff. All right, let's continue. And I said, I remember at that time bringing up how this had nothing to do with black unity. Instead, it was nothing more than a quote unquote get back at Whitey spectacle. That's exactly what it was. The main question that was brought up here on this platform was, where is all this energy and unity when dealing with our own internal issues? And see, that's really not popular to talk about. The internal issues, the things that really matter. And we'll talk about some of those just briefly. And some of the comments, the feedback I was getting at that time was, man, shut up, old head. And, can't we just enjoy the moment? That was kind of feedback that I was getting then. I said, well, we had over a year to measure the impact of this great flashpoint in Black American history. And I said, scroll to the next image and let's see how that's going. And so this is one of the memes here. And then let's take a look at the next image here. Well, there you go. This is kind of how it's been going since then. And if you recall, these fights, I don't recall that kind of energy coming out like, yes, This is signs of, black people, we are actually coming together. Let me just ask you very simply, does this look like black unity? Does this look like black people actually coming together? Now, before you pivot and switch and want to say, but white people do this all the time, I'm not talking about white people. I'm not talking about Asian people. I'm not talking about Indian people. I'm not talking about any of them. I'm talking about us, black people. All right. And what we're doing is that in this broadcast, we're going to hold ourselves accountable to what we were saying back then, or what some of y'all were saying. I wasn't saying this. All right. So let me go back here. It has now become an on the low joke about the relationships between Carnival cruises and black folks. Now, I don't know, for some of you who've been following, at least online, there's been numbers of videos that have been popping up of Carnival cruises where you got black folks that are just ripping each other apart. Now, Carnival cruise, a cruise is a time where people come together, and it should be a time of relaxation, vacationing, having fun, and all of this. But time after time after time, the internet has been inundated with these types of videos. Now, to be very clear, before someone jumps in the comment section, this is why I wrote what I wrote here. I said, once again, and I said that in caps, before I continue, before some of you dive into the comments below, not all black people are starting fights on these ships. Many black folks go on these ships without bringing their drama. But even with that, the negative side does exist and is becoming more of an issue. Okay? So I'm not saying all black people are the only ones that are doing this, but we do show up time and time again when these things come up. And then I said, now the word and video is getting out that the same trend now is starting to pop up on Royal Caribbean cruise ships. All you gotta do is do a search on YouTube, and there's a few people have already done videos on this, where now it's our people, black people, who are going on this cruise line, a total different cruise line, and they are now, it was one of their largest ships, a Royal Caribbean line, the largest ship that they have in the water right now. It's a beautiful ship. And someone filmed, it was people, unfortunately, looked just like us, that were tearing things up. They had to bring in all kind of stuff to break people up. It was a brawl that took place on Royal Caribbean. And Royal Caribbean is more expensive than Carnival cruises. But it's become a joke. It's becoming like a on low, open secret. It's funny. Man, you can't take black people anywhere. We always don't. And then we be chuckling and laughing at this. But this is what's happening since 2023, the great Montgomery Brawl. Okay, fights. And so anyway, let's continue. I said, since this incident in Montgomery, we have provided the gods of the internet free entertainment by filming, uploading, and sharing to the world just how much many of us hate each other. Meanwhile, guess who's raking in thousands and thousands of dollars on ad revenue every time those types of videos are uploaded and shared? I mean, I can't only begin to tell you. I mean, you have whole channels that are created that highlight fights between black Americans. I don't know who run these channels, but they're out there. They're different platforms. You can go on Instagram, you can go on Twitter, you can go on TikTok or whatever, and you'll find that you have whole channels that are dedicated to showing just how much we hate each other. And guess who's uploading it? It's not the KKK. It's not white supremacists. It's us, black folks. We're doing it. We rush to volunteer to get it up on our channels, up on the internet. And what we're not thinking is that when you upload these things, the moment you upload any video, even a video that you're watching right now, I am giving up some of my ownership rights to this video. So anything you upload, I don't care what platform it's on, by default, you are giving up some of your ownership rights to that medium. Like I said, it could be text, it can be video, it can be audio. You're giving up some of your rights to it. So even something that is about as low and derogatory as us demonstrating just how much we hate each other, the people that we call our oppressors are still making tons of money off of that. And we're just handing it to them for free. Something to think about. And so anyway, I said on one hand, many of our people use these platforms to brag about gatekeeping a culture, but we rarely want to discuss constructively and course correct what has been going on behind those gates. And right now on social media, you got this big thing going on with, FBA. We're going to, FBA, Foundational Black Americans, they are standing up and they're saying they're going to gatekeep hip hop. Let me tell you something about that. And this is something I was talking to a young man on this the other day. You don't own hip hop. As when we look at our history, yes, as Black Americans, yes, hip hop was one of many genres that we've come up with, and we can take great pride in that. However, time and time again, guess what? We handed it over willingly to other people. We handed the control over to it. You do not own hip hop. So all of this smoke and steam and stuff that you see the FBA people that are putting on social media and saying that we're going to gatekeep and the Puerto Ricans need to leave it alone and the Jamaicans need to leave it alone and all this other stuff. All of this smoke and energy that you're putting towards quote unquote gatekeeping, let me help you out. You no longer own the gates. You don't own it because hip hop has been given over. Many of our people decided to hand it over to a whole different group of people. And if you want further proof of that, look at how many times many of us complain about the quality of performers or entertainers in the hip hop genre. We complain about them all the time, the Sexy Reds and some of these other people. And we say, man, this is crazy. This is nuts. How did they get so famous? How are they getting up to the position that they're in right now? Well, it's easy because we don't control it. So all of this energy that many of our people are putting towards quote unquote gatekeeping a genre of music, you don't even own it. You understand what I'm saying? So the only people that are profiting off of every post that you're putting up to gatekeep, you're not profiting off of any of that. They own all of this. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just trying to bring a dose of reality as we're going into 2025. Are you going to continue to waste your energy on nonsense on social media? Or are you going to start engaging smartly on some of these things? And like I posted the other day, I think yesterday, every controversy that we see right now that's going on social media has already been pre-planned. It's already been pre-planned. You're just participating and falling in line with it. Right now, the hot topic is H-1B people that are coming into this country and taking jobs away from Americans, American-born citizens. That's the hot topic right now. And it's interesting to see how it's just these different things that are coming up. It's doing is turning the general population against each other. But we're never moving forward with any of it at all. We're not. And I could talk more about that H-1B. I was thinking about doing a video about that one day, but I'm going to skip it for now. But all of these different movements that you see birthed on social media, they were already pre-planned. These aren't organic. It only seems to be organic. Once you begin to understand how marketing works, marketing right now in 2024 going into 2025, it's done in such a way where it only appears that a lot of this stuff you see popping up on social media is organic. FBA, you name it, it doesn't matter. These are pre-planned movements that are started on social media to control the minds of the general population. All right. So anyway, let me move back to here. And let's go back to what I wrote here. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Mental illness continues to be a growing problem that we only mention if a white cop shoots one that is suffering from this same type of illness. Other than that, we tolerate them, and at times we make fun of them. Mental illness is a very serious issue, and it's something that we cannot take for granted at all. I have a bunch of stories that I can go through right now, but I'm going to probably save that for other videos. But I'm looking at some of the stories I got out right now. For example, there's a growing problem just amongst our people, black people, of squatters. You have black folks who are actually taking away the homes of other black people. This is a growing problem just amongst us, where you got certain black folks, many of them who fall in that Moorish stuff, belief system, where they believe that the earth is theirs and they can take any home that they wish. And it's interesting that the only homes that they focus on are homes that are owned by other black people. But this is an issue. This is a growing issue, and it's impacting black homeowners. We can't duck and dodge and say, well, the white man did it and all that. No, this is something that's happening now. It's a big problem in places like Atlanta, especially. And it was one case I'm looking at right now. There was a story of I would say she's probably a middle-aged black woman, accomplished, enough to own a house. And she came to our house one day, and this is in Atlanta, and come to find out, it was some black people that came in and said, we're going to make this our house. So she's in the Atlanta area, which means that is a high probability that, and I've seen the pictures, so this is true in her case, that the government officials are also going to be black. So she went to them. She went to the cops. You know what the cops told her? The cop says, well, put yourself in their situation. Now, can you imagine for a moment that you coming home and you put the key in to try to turn the lock to get into your house, but the key ain't fit no more? Then you peek inside and you see a bunch of people who look like you who done took control of your house. So you're like, man, what the heck is this, right? So you call the cops. You got black folks that are coming that are cops, and you're like, okay, good. We're gonna get to the bottom of this, because after all, we're black, and we're gonna, we got some black people on the force. We're gonna handle business, y'all. We're gonna take care of this. And then the police officer comes around, and you explain to him what's going on, and then the police officer is like, well, take a look. Why don't you look at it from their perspective? Imagine that. How you think you're going to react to that? Then on top of that, the judge, when she took this to court, the judge is a black woman. And she took it to court with the judge, a black woman, and she took the side of the squatters. So now this black woman is fighting for her home. I'm trying to pull the article up so you can see for yourself. Not only that, the black cop, guess what he did? He arrested the homeowner. All because she was like, what the heck is going on? You gonna let these people come in my house, take over my house, and you gonna say, I need to look at it from their perspective. Then you take the case to the court, where you have a black female judge who basically took the side of the squatters. But again, we're supposed to overlook these things. This is what's happening now. This is what's been happening in the shadow of Montgomery. I know this ain't really exciting stuff, and I know, we need to be talking about how great and powerful we are, and we invented everything. And, I know a lot of people like to hear that, but we got to be real. You know what I'm saying? We got to be real with ourselves. And it's this failure of being real and honest with ourselves is allowing all of this stuff to build up, and we're not smelling the fact that we stink. And it's true. I got another story here. An individual who, when it comes down to mental illness, they said, let's see, a disabled boy, 7 years old. He died. Let me pull this up here. 7 years old, who died weighing 7 pounds on Christmas Day. He had a family full of black folks who allowed him to pretty much starve to death in his home, the house, place where this child is supposed to be in the safest place for him on earth. But the black folks, including his mother, who were there supposedly to protect this child, instead of protecting him, they sat up here and allowed this boy to starve to death. And he's gone. So these are just some stories. Like I said, I'm not going to bore y'all with a lot, because I have a ton of stories that I'm keeping track of. And just, just for historical record. Then we got a teen girl who was shot, along with a 14-year-old that was shot alongside a 16-year-old. They were just walking down the street. Then we got other homeless people being beat up. We got that. We got another one, step-grandmother, 36, who bashed the head of an 11-month-old baby. This stuff goes on over and over and over again in the shadow of Montgomery. This stuff is going on, and it continues to go on. And unfortunately, we don't want to talk about it. Instead, we want to talk about how great we are and how important it is for us to, reconnect ourselves to whatever. But we don't want to talk about these things. And anyway, let me just close out this article here, or what the post I wrote, which is right here. It says self-proclaimed ban. Here we go. Behind those gates, I'll go back. Mental illness continues to be a growing problem that we only mention if a white cop shoots one that is suffering from this type of illness, like that child I just mentioned, the child I just showed on the screen. That's not going to really be, it hasn't really become an issue. You know why nobody's really talking about it? Because it doesn't involve white people. Now, if that family was made up of predominantly white people, it would be on all y'all timeline, and it would. But because it's black people that are mainly involved in this story, we don't hear anything about it. You can't blame the media. You can't blame anything else. It's in the media. And then I said, mental illness continues to be a growing problem that we only mention if a white cop is the one that shoots one that is suffering from this type of illness. Other than that, we tolerate them and at times make fun of them. We have comedians that make fun of people with mental issues all the time. It's funny until a cop shoots one of them, and then all of a sudden we got to fight the power. Let's continue. And I said, behind those gates are numbers of people who are too busy cosplaying Indians, Hebrews, Moors, hip hop gatekeepers, and anything else that would keep us distracted. And then finally, I said a self-proclaimed ban on uploading and sharing fight videos would be a good start to 2025. But when are we going to honestly face why we hate each other so much? And I think that the parting, whatever it is, word, as far as this platform is concerned, I would have for 2024 going into 2025 is that for many, and starting in the beginning of this year up until present, from all the revelations of these different preachers and stuff getting exposed, to politicians getting exposed, entertainers getting exposed, all, and a lot of people credit this to Cat Williams, because he said this is going to be a year of exposure. And in many ways, he was correct. It was a year of exposure. But now that things are being exposed, what are we going to do in 2025 to begin to fix these things? And to not only just talk about these things, but talk about it from an vantage point of how we can begin to isolate, separate ourselves from these things, or how can we have conversations that lead to more and more of our people getting the mental help that they need? It's one thing to talk about how crazy these black women are or how crazy these black men are, but it's another thing to have a movement where you have black men, black women who are getting the professional help that they need, to address some of these early traumas that are preventing us to having healthy relationships with each other. That's the root cause. It's, how many channels right now? I want you to really think about this. There are many channels just on YouTube. I don't even have to think about any other platform. There are many channels right now that were created in 2024 whose main focus was to talk about just how crazy black women are or how crazy black men are. Do you know how many thousands of dollars these channel owners are making? They're making tons of money off of just regurgitating and talking about our dysfunction. Now, if they're making tons of money, how much more money you think YouTube is making? They're making millions of dollars off of us taking a microphone, taking a camera, using internet, and we just sit up here and we just video after video after video upload and talk about, man, these black women are crazy. We need to get our passports and we need to get up out of here. Or black men, these black men ain't worth this. We need to get our passports and get out of here. And we spend tons of money investing in equipment, talking about these dysfunctions, but not really getting to the heart of the issue. I listen to a lot of these stories. I mean, if you go through my history on YouTube, you'll see I'm watching a lot of these types of videos and I'm listening to these people. What's the girl named Amanda or whatever? There's one girl, there's a couple of shows. Like I like looking, like I'm just gonna tell you from time to time, I'll sit down, we'll look at Pop the Balloon for Love. And then there's another one that's out too. It's like a little dating thing. I ain't looking for nobody. I already got mine. So it ain't for that. But it allows me to listen to what a lot of these people are dealing with when it comes to relationships. And a lot of this stuff, it's easy to sit back and say, she gonna be single in her 50s and 60s or whatever. But when you're really listening, I'm asking the question, why is that? What got this person to this point in the first place, where she only views men in this light, or vice versa? What got this man in this situation where he only views women in this light? It's easy for us to blame society. It's easy for us to blame all these different pockets. But on the real, a lot of this stuff begins at home. Society is going to always be society. Society is going to be polluted. It's going to have all this nonsense and stuff. But this is why home is so very important. Because no matter what's going on in society, it's your home life that really sets the tone, so that when you go into society, you're balanced and you know how to handle this stuff without becoming part of society, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And so these are the kind of things that we have focused on this platform, and we continue to focus on these things. And for some of you who are brand new to this channel, first of all, again, I want to welcome you, and I'm so glad you're here. But one of the ways that we try to focus on, of course, is talking about the problem and then providing some solutions just in the talking, but it's also the tangible thing as well. And as far as addressing health, and, and that's what we got Samba Tree for, to really address, the importance of these different herbs and natural things to address a lot of these things that we deal with that can help bring some balance to our health and wellness. And that's why we talk, it's a business, but also it gives us an opportunity to really take the time and to go through these things and to explain just why it's so important to wean off of a lot of this stuff that pharmaceutical companies have been giving us, and begin to start taking control and being our own primary care physician. You know what I mean? And learning to go to the professionals that are out there that can really assist you in the way you're supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? And getting yourself to a place where you're being honest enough and saying, hey, listen, I really need some help. You know what I mean? Because what a lot of people do is they go to the internet and they ask the internet for help. We don't need to do that. You need to seek out some real professional help and care. You know what I mean? And but these are the kind of things that I'm looking forward to in 2025 that we can really begin to take a lot more serious than we have been. And that is moving into an era of true self-inspection and making adjustments, real adjustments. I don't have time to be talking about Fat Joe or any other 90s rapper or 80s rapper. That's not doing anything for me, and it's certainly not doing anything for you. It's not. And so what we do need to focus on is ourselves, the ones that we love. We got coming up, I think Nicole and I tomorrow. So I want you to be on the lookout for this. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a live, a Samba Tree live. I guess it will be over on our Samba Tree YouTube page. And that will kind of be, there's some things we're going to be talking about, general things, general health things we're going to be talking about. So I'll post something here on this platform and let you know when we're going to be doing that. So be on the lookout for that. We want to bring in the new year with that. We're also going to talk about this upcoming flu, that they're slowly starting to ramp up now. And again, we're going to take the same strategy that we took before. We're going to use other platforms to get the word out about some of the things we can do to navigate around this BS that they're throwing at us. And we're going to stand on truth. We're going to continue to stand on truth, and we're going to continue to get the information out that needs to get out. And so we just learned over the years, we just have to be a bit smarter about how we do it. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. That's kind of the tentative plan right now. It'll be me, and I'll be sitting next to a pretty woman, and that'll be my wife. And we'll be discussing some of these things, and then some of the things that we're going to be doing over at Samba Tree, and some of the things we're going to be offering and all of that stuff. So it'll be fun. It'll be a time for us to all come together and talk about these things. And we're going to continue to address these things because, like I said, health and wellness should be our top priority, and staying away from all this nonsense on social media. We don't need to be engaging in that. We really don't, because we got to get our minds right. You know what I'm saying? And then all the other things will fall into place. But anyway, I think that is it. Let me just take a quick look here in the chat here and see, like this one here, Peace of Mind. She said, we are some of the most traumatized people, but still the least likely to get help for it. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And, when we, like I said, going back, we love, and trauma loves trauma sometimes. People who like trauma, they tend to be attracted to it. That's why these fight videos do so well. And we like spreading that when we're like, because trauma, in some cases, it attracts more trauma. Broken people oftentimes associate themselves with other broken people. But we don't want to do that. We want things to get, we want to get better. We want to see our people get better. And that's what we're focused on this platform. Okay. But anyway, I think that's it. Like I said, this wasn't going to be a long broadcast at all, but I just wanted to jump on here real quick and, and let's look forward to a wonderful 2025. And, but I would highly encourage you to buckle up because, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but, Trump isn't seated in the White House just yet. And these people will try anything. They've already got these drones out here. And then now I'm hearing about this mysterious fog or whatever. And, people are getting on there. They're going to try this system is going to stay having you on edge about everything. Somebody passes gas in front of you. Now all of a sudden that's a conspiracy. Now all of a sudden, they're trying to kill us now. Nah, that's that brother in front of you who don't know how to squeeze his cheeks together and wait till you get to the bathroom. He got, I won't get too graphic, but for real, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, that's where you got to step back. You know what I mean? Be like, okay, let me kind of step back a little bit and get myself together. Because if you stay on these internet streets too long, these people will scare the heck out of me and scare hell in you. But anyway, that's it. That's all I have for y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this evening, the rest of the week, and you guys take care, and we'll be talking again soon. Okay, let's look forward to some great things that for 2025. Okay, all right, you guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.